Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turnbuckle Talk with me, Steven Spice. Today's special guest is welcomed into your home every week through the WWE Network, and he has loved wrestling since he was a little kid, like me. Please welcome the host, analyst of Sirius XM Fantasy Football, former House of Hardcore commentator, 2020 Slammy Award winner, and most importantly, Dad to Penny, my special guest, WWE co-host to the bump, Mr. Matt Camp.
Wow, what an introduction, Steven. And you did your homework. You are quite the interviewer. It is my pleasure to be on with one of the best wrestling show interviewers in the entire world. Thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you. It was a teamwork. It was me and my mom.
That's how it works. That's how we do it on the bump. It's a team effort.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right.
Welcome to the show, Matt. How are you?
I am doing very well. It's been quite a busy week. We just did some shows over the past week for WrestleMania Backlash. So I was on the bump and I was on the watch along, and very exciting time. But I get to spend some time with you. That's the most important thing.
And by the way, I'm sorry for yawning. It's just I woke up very early and I didn't have much sleep last night.
I understand completely.
Too excited.
Same thing for me.
I don't know how you adults are lucky you get to drink coffee.
I did have that this morning. You're right. It helps.
Yeah, we don't get to drink anything.
You'll get there.
How about Backlash?
WrestleMania Backlash was an unbelievable show. I'm a big Cesaro fan, and I've known him for quite some time. Came up just short, unfortunately, against Roman Reigns, but one of the best efforts he could put in. And I'll tell you what, watching Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman, and Drew McIntyre nearly tear down the WWE Thunderdome was pretty awesome. It was one heck of a show. What'd you think?
Yeah. What I think I got a little bit upset at WrestleMania because Drew McIntyre won his title when everybody was out.
Right.
They couldn't go to the WWE stadiums. So next year, all the fans that he didn't get to see cheer him on, he didn't get to see that.
Right.
So
yeah.
It would have been upsetting.
It's that moment that he wanted. And when he won at WrestleMania last year, when we were at the Performance Center and he reached his hand out, that was kind of his way to connect with the fans. But yeah, he didn't get that this year. Although, when we talked to him, he definitely felt the energy of the fans. He got to have that first big entrance. I know that was big for him, but, sometimes you wrestle some real tough competitors, and he had to face Bobby Lashley. So, both of those guys really fed off the fans.
Well, technically, Bobby Lashley didn't defeat him because at WrestleMania, MVP distracted him. That's why he defeated him. At the Triple Threat match, he beat Braun Strowman.
Right.
After Drew gave him a Claymore. And then he threw out Drew McIntyre. So technically, he hasn't beat him yet.
I think you're sending a strong message to Bobby Lashley. I'll try to tell MVP about that because I know he's in some negotiations. He told me that after watch along. He said he's in some big negotiations for Bobby Lashley.
By the way, can you tell the ref that I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, no. Oh, God.
Did the ref mess up? Is that what you're thinking of? Do you think the ref messed up?
Well, the ref needs to get some glasses. That's what I'm just saying.
I will let the referee know. I know one of the head referees. His name is John Cone. I'm going to tell him he needs to have a talk with the other referees. And if they need some glasses, he should provide them for them.
Because they don't see anything that happens. That's cheating. I just remember what I was actually going to say.
Okay.
Tell the referees on next Bobby Lashley's match against Drew McIntyre for the title or something. NEV, bye, go, get, nope, go.
I agree.
You cheat too much.
I agree.
Dad said he doesn't physically get into the ring.
But he doesn't. But he's a distraction. I'm with you. He does get the referee's attention, and then Bobby can do some stuff behind the referee's back. So I think you're right. MVP is a problem in those matches.
And also look at WrestleMania. That's the only reason Drew McIntyre lost.
I think that's and he said so. He admitted that. You know who else said that? You know who else is right on with you? Bill Goldberg said that. He said it during the match. He said, watch out for MVP. So you and a Hall of Famer are on the same page. That's right. That's right.
Now that things have gotten, sorry, I have a bad hand.
It's okay.
Now that we have gotten to know you a little better, let's get into the wrestling side of things.
All righty.
Best side. No. Why did you fall in love with wrestling when you were growing up?
So the first big pay-per-view I remember watching was WrestleMania 7. And that had Macho Man and the Ultimate Warrior in a career match. And Ultimate Warrior won. That had Hulk Hogan and Sergeant Slaughter for the WWE Championship. I remember watching that pay-per-view in full.
Yeah. I remember that. Ultimate Warrior was the first man to beat him fairly.
Yeah, because Macho hit him with 5 flying elbow drops, and Warrior kicked out. That was unheard of at the time. And then Warrior beat him. But I remember watching that one in full, and I remember just going, "Oh man, I got to keep." I don't even remember why I saw that. And then about a year later, I went to my first wrestling event. It was at Madison Square Garden in New York City, and I had an Ultimate Warrior sweatshirt. And my dad took me, and that was my first event. And Hulk Hogan was on that, and Undertaker, and IRS, and Rowdy Piper. And Ric Flair was on that. He was the world champion at the time. And that was it. And I used to go to this is way before your time. They used to have a thing called video stores. And there were tapes. And you could go in and you would rent the tapes. And then you could watch it. But it wasn't, you'd have to wait. If you didn't get it on pay-per-view, you would have to wait months and months for the tapes to come out. And then you could watch the events. Not like now where we have the WWE Network and Peacock where you can watch them as they happen. We didn't have that back then. So you had to wait unless you got it on pay-per-view to rent the tapes from the video store. But I would do that every single time, and I would get every tape I could. And then at some point, I watched them all.
Before you were on the bump, you were a part of House of Hardcore. Right. Wrestling. What did it mean to you to come on board as one of their commentators?
So what did it mean to me to be part of House of Hardcore is what you're wondering?
Yes.
That was my first real job in a wrestling company. I had done some radio on Sirius for Busted Open Radio, which is very popular, the most popular wrestling radio show. And Tommy Dreamer, I had become friends with through my work in fantasy football. And I had gone to House of Hardcore shows close by in Philadelphia where I had lived at the time. And he reached out to me when there was an opening and he said, would you be my new play-by-play commentator and host? And I had actually thought about it when I knew the job was opened. I was going to reach out to him and say, could I have an opportunity? Could I try out? And he offered me the job. And I wouldn't be talking to you today right now if I wasn't in that position. And it was the first time I got to do wrestling play-by-play, and I got to travel to Philadelphia and New Jersey and New York in the States. And I got to fly down to New Orleans during WrestleMania weekend a few years ago, and we did a show there. So that was huge to me, and I learned so much about wrestling and what a show is set up and everything that goes into it. So without that, I wouldn't be on the bump. And I always credit Tommy Dreamer for a big part of my career.
That's the end of my fingers. I'll put that down to play with. Thinking back to your House of House of Hardcore days, do you have a match that comes to mind that you can recommend to me as a young hardcore fan to watch on YouTube? Trust me, hardcore fans should.
Sure. I don't know if it's available on YouTube. You don't have to look around. But the second show I ever called, I got to call a match between Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer against the Hardy Boys at the ECW Arena in Philadelphia. It's one of the best arenas in the history of wrestling. And it was sold out, and it was loud, and the fans didn't know that the Hardy Boys were going to be there. And that was a match that I got to call. And when you hear the crowd like that, it just makes the experience that much better. If you can find it, if it's out there, I recommend that one because it's a very special match, especially to me.
I'm gonna look for it.
Okay.
To you, what do you find the biggest difference are between commentating and being a reporter like you are now, and which do you prefer to do?
I think I prefer what I do now because I can put a lot more. I like having the conversations like this. When I get to call the action, you're in it, but you're calling, to the audience that's watching. So you don't get that immediate feedback. I like having the conversations because I'm very interested in learning about people and where they came from. And I like to follow up with my questions, much like you do. When you get an answer, you want to learn more. And when I get to do that on the bump, you've done your research. That's what I do. As soon as we finish here, I'll be researching for Bump 100 about our guests. And you get to dive a little bit deeper and you get to connect with them on more than just the wrestling level. And I think that's pretty cool when you get to learn about people and then they become more engaged. So I like doing that more because I think it's more fun to have that connection. And it also allows for everybody watching at home to learn more about the wrestlers.
Okay. Wait, this is what we call a twisty turny.
Oh, okay.
I named it because I love hardcore and I love high flying.
Okay.
Twisty turnies is where I do a question that's not on my paragraph. It's just something I just said.
I love it.
Oh. So, what was the best thing you found in the wrestling warehouse? Like the strangest, like the best and strangest, your favorite thing you found in the warehouse?
When I was at the warehouse, that's right. You were there during WrestleMania week. That's a great question.
You're lucky you got to sit in the throne.
I did get to sit. That was pretty cool. Man, there were so many things in there. Let me think. So I saw all of the Undertaker's caskets. That was pretty cool from all of the matches he's done with the caskets and all that. What was pretty cool? I had Brock Lesnar's Money in the Bank briefcase, which was also a boombox. He used to come out and it had the speakers on it.
Yeah.
And I actually held that. It was very heavy, very, very heavy. And the other thing that's in the warehouse is there's an actual ring. There's a full set up ring in the warehouse. And I got to get in it.
Because it's a warehouse.
That's true. But they also had rings that were not set up. Just, before they set up with all the poles and all that, that was there. There's a bunch of those.
Since you actually worked at it, how many rings do they use?
How about what?
Rings are expensive.
Oh, no, those are very expensive. How
many rings have they used?
Oh, they've used, they probably have 20 rings just in the warehouse alone. Because they got to send them to different kind of places. When we go overseas, when we go to Europe and Japan, they have to have rings over there that they store.
You must be rich.
Well, that's not my money. It's the man at the top. Mr. McMahon is the one who funds all that stuff. Yep.
Try not to sneeze.
Okay.
I just had surgery.
Gotcha.
Deep breaths. Okay. Okay. Done. In 2018, you were interviewing Daniel Cormier from UFC, and
yeah,
he talked about getting a call from the WWE to try out for commentating at that point, did you ever think that you would, a year later, become an interviewer? A few years later, did you ever think that you would be joining the WWE a few years later?
I had always hoped that was the case, but at the time of that interview, which happened on Busted Open, it wasn't in my mind. And it was funny because I was hoping at the time, I was like, oh, that would be great for Daniel Cormier. And now, of course, he's a color commentator for UFC and is very good at it. But it was always a hope maybe sometime down the road I would get there. But at that time, I wasn't sure. There was no direct connection. There were no jobs that I knew that were available. And then, a year later, that was pretty cool. And you know what? That was the experience. Being able to do things like that made me better. I learned more things. The interview process I had done, as you mentioned, with House of Hardcore, I did the play-by-play. But then getting to do those interviews made me, a better reporter, I think. Learning and getting to do that with different people does indeed make you better. So at the time, it was a hope, but not something that was I was going to be directly connected to just yet.
Being a huge wrestling fan, what was your reaction when you got the call about going to work on the bump at WWE Studios?
Here's the story that I don't think I've ever told anyone in public. And I'm going to tell you this story. You get the exclusive on this one. I was hosting an episode of Busted Open Radio. I was on the air. We had 20 minutes left in the show. And I had done my interviews and everything for WWE. I went there and tried out and had gotten through. And that was the last step. Was I going to get the job or not? And my phone rang while I was on the air. And I looked. And it was the person who was going to tell me whether I got the job or not. But I couldn't pick up the phone because I was on the air live on Sirius Radio. So the whole time, that last 20 minutes of the show, I have to stay focused on doing the show. But at the same time, I know one of the most important phone calls of my life is waiting for me at this time. So I was talking to my producer, who now works with us at WWE. And I texted him. I said, they just called me. And he said, oh, my goodness. I said, as soon as I get off the air, I got to disconnect. I got to call. So I finished that show, and I called the number back, and they said, we'd like to offer you the job. And I was amazed. I didn't know if I was going to get it. I was hopeful, but that was what that phone call was. So I got that phone call.
I'm surprised. Because that you didn't pick up.
I couldn't. I was on the air. I was broadcasting.
Like, I got scared that you wouldn't get the job and you had to do it again. Like, goddamn.
It did cross my mind. I went, oh, my goodness. I can't pick up the phone right now. I hope they don't call somebody else. But other people got hired when I did as well, which was cool. And
how would you pick up the phone on live air?
I couldn't do it, though.
I did it because
it was kind of a secret.
Because it
was kind of a secret.
But what if the fans wouldn't hear you?
Well, they found out after the fact. I had to tell everybody once I went through the process. That's part of the deal.
Yeah, I think everybody knows now.
Well, now they know. Yes, they get to see me every week.
Shit, my mom almost gave me the wrong question to read.
That's okay.
I am a huge John Cena fan, and he would be someone that I will probably mark out at the meeting because he is how I fell into love with wrestling. He actually saved my life.
Wow.
So I went my first brain surgery, and then 3 days after brain surgery, doctor came in and gave me some horrible news.
Oh.
Gambling, trampolines, no bouncy castles, none of that. No roller coasters, none of that. You can't be a normal kid. Basically, that's what he said.
That stinks. Sorry.
And I saw videos, so I just said, I'm done. Giving up on life. There's nothing to do.
Wow.
I'm just gonna lie in bed all day and watch TV. That's it. It's the last straw. Then I was watching my tablet a day later or so. Yeah, a day after the bad incident.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact, the doctor actually was surprised I wasn't paralyzed by then.
Wow.
And because I dealt with it for 5 years. And then I got the tablet, saw a video of just some random dude, which was John Cena. I didn't know who he was.
Right.
So I put in some random videos, like some meme videos and stuff. I put in random videos.
Yeah, sure. Keep yourself entertained. I get it.
Yeah. So I put it on. I saw him speak a speech of never give up. Don't give up. Keep pushing through. And there's nothing stopping you from pushing through.
That's right.
That's what saved my life.
He's very inspirational.
It saved my life from being depressed and bored. Well, I already was depressed when that other dog died. Like, I was depressed.
Yeah, I understand that. I've had it happen to me too.
This is why I'm lucky to have friends. Because I have a friend that actually pulled me out of depression.
Wow.
From the dog.
It's good to have friends
from the
like
dog
that.
passing.
It's great to have friends like that.
Yep, I had a big friend. That's why I fell in love with wrestling. Has there been any interviews that you have done where you have gotten starstruck or marked out?
I will tell you one. When we were, because of the pandemic, we started doing the shows from home, and I was in this very room where I'm talking to you right now. And that door was closed over there, the one that Penny walked through. And it was the first time I interviewed The Undertaker. And I've gotten to do it a couple of times, which is unbelievable. But he didn't do many of those interviews. And I was sitting in this seat right here on this camera, much like I'm talking to you right now. And
I'm very lucky.
Very lucky. Very, very lucky.
Kevin Owens, but Undertaker.
Kevin's one of my favorites. I've interviewed him a few times. But Undertaker was probably the first one where I was like, oh my goodness. Go ahead.
Okay. If anybody's watching, I definitely recommend you trying to get Kevin Owens.
We're going to have him this week. You're on the same episode as him. He's on the bump this week. So are you.
I think it's supposed to be a surprise, right?
Well, we advertised that Kevin Owens is coming on the bump, so people know that, and you're right up there on the marquee with him, but Kevin is great. Kevin is someone I have known back to my House of Hardcore days. One of his last matches was a show I actually attended as a fan, and I got to talk to him. Kevin is one of my favorites, and he is actually the reason I found out about you, because of the interview you did with him.
Because of my great interview experience.
Fantastic.
And my great introducing. Whoever introduces the wrestlers, I'm coming for you.
That's right. Oh, you can do it. That's a good goal to have.
So, Jesus Christ. Sorry.
It's okay.
I hate when that happens.
It's all right.
And you forgot what to say.
Hey, it happens to me too.
What has been the strangest interview that you have done, both in wrestling and away from wrestling?
Wow, that's a great question.
Not strongest, strangest.
Strangest interview. Let's see. We interviewed the Boogeyman once. He was in the studio for the Halloween episode. He broke a clock over his head. Yes, right behind us, and it just kind of shattered all over us. That was a pretty weird one. Let's see.
I would imagine it was weird. He eats worms.
He does, and he ate worms right in front of us, and they kind of fell on our shoulders, which was odd, and then he left them on our chairs for us. He snuck back into our studio, and we looked down, and there was worms on our chairs. So I'd have to say Boogeyman's probably pretty high on the list. Dexter Loomis was also on Watch Along once, and all he did the whole time was draw. He didn't talk to us. We tried to talk to him, and sometimes he would nod, which is what he does in NXT.
He drawed his cool emotions.
He was drawing. I think he was drawing Indy Hartwell at the time, so they kind of have a thing going on.
When you found out that your show had won the Slammy Award, what did it mean to you? To you?
Oh, okay. So we hosted the Slammy. We were part of the pre-show with that, and I got to be all involved with the Slammy Awards. But the one I'm holding, I think, is what you're getting at. That was more of us hosting the awards, and R-Truth was the official host, and we got to present some of those. But that was what an honor, because I grew up watching the Slammies.
Should have won it.
You know what? It's a goal. It's something I have not achieved just yet, but maybe this year. Maybe we win one this year, because we had our own awards. We had the Bumpies back in July of last year, and then we had the Slammies.
Bumpies in July.
That was like our half-year awards.
In July?
Last July, yeah.
That's fun fact. That's the month of my birthday.
What day is your birthday?
July 10th.
7/10. I think it was 7/11 last year is when we had that, or right around there. So it's your birthday and the Bumpies. Those are the two most important dates in July.
Well, I turned 9 when the Bumpies were around.
Yes, that was our first Bumpies. We had Bumpy Awards, and then in December, R-Truth hosted the Slammies, but we got to be part of that as well.
You should have won a Slammy for the 100th episode.
I'm hoping. Maybe this week's episode you will put us over the top, and we'll win a Slammy for that.
I'll do some introducing. I'll do some. I don't care. I'll do it.
Maybe you'll win a Bumpy.
Fun facts. I want a Bumpy.
Well,
I'll take a Bumpy or the Warrior Award.
All right. Well, we'll keep that in mind. We'll see how things go this week. Maybe you'll win a Bumpy.
Okay. Fun fact. My friend, Chris Van Vliet, is an interviewer too. Maybe he can interview you if you agree to it.
I have heard of him before, yes.
Okay. He is one of my closest friends.
Right.
Because I interviewed him and he's super nice.
Mm-hmm.
And he's an actual reporter too.
Right.
He's won 4 Slammy Awards, 4 Emmys.
Emmy Awards, yeah.
2 TV awards. I can't remember what the other ones were. Because he's had a lot of them. He has a lot of awards.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Very good. He's very good, yes.
Yeah, he has gotten one, but you haven't. You're both the same amount of good reporters.
Thank you.
Actually, awesome reporters.
I appreciate the compliment.
Okay, I'm sorry. Whenever you laugh, because I just saw Backlash. Your teeth look like Cesaro's mouth guard.
Oh, nice. I'll take that. Yes, I got a little fang action going here. Yeah. I agree.
Me and my mom got actually scared for Cesaro.
He got beat up pretty good.
Is he okay? Because his arm got pretty bad.
So he did tweet today, so close. He did put that out on Twitter, which tells me he's down but not out. But he got Roman, Jay, and then Seth Rollins, who is also going to be on the bump this week. We might have to talk to him about what he did to Cesaro. But I think Cesaro's okay.
So, me and my mom actually thought he was passed out after the guillotine.
Yeah, you saw the veins in his head.
We also saw that he was out cold, and then he woke up. He was scared.
He didn't know what happened, because that's what that move can do. But yeah, he came so close. He one of the best matches he's ever had. Unfortunately, that's how good Roman Reigns is.
I love Roman Reigns, but Cesaro needs a push. He's a very talented wrestler.
He was in the main event of WrestleMania Backlash. I think that's pretty good. But you know what? You're not the first person to say that. You won't be the last. But Cesaro's well on his way. We got to talk to him on the bump yesterday. He's a great guy. I think he's in that spot you want him to be in. Honestly,
I don't care if he wins the 24/7 belt. Speaking of 24/7 belt,
There it is.
I know he's won it.
He won the fake one.
Oh, you won the fake one?
This is not, yeah. R-Truth has the real one. You could buy these on WWE Shop.
Okay. I think R-Truth is distracted. You should go to your studios and then roll him up and go run. I love R-Truth because he's so funny, but
The best.
you got made fun of and got the fake one. You need the real one, bro.
Listen, don't tell anybody, but that's something I've thought about. We can't say it though, because if R-Truth watches this, he's gonna know I'm coming for it. So we'll keep that private.
I'll try to ask because I don't really know how to edit. So
That's
I'll try
okay.
to
No, it's okay. It's okay. If it's out there and he's prepared, so be it. But it is something that maybe one day I can pull off.
You don't know when though.
That's right. It could come at any time. That's why it's 24/7.
You should do when they're doing that Old Spice commercial.
That's Night Panther tried to do it there, and he got the title that one time. So I don't know. And R-Truth's a big friend of the show. We've had him in studio before, but he wasn't the 24/7 champion when he was in the studio, so I couldn't go after the title.
I mean, I wouldn't go after him if you're really good friends with him, because he'll get really upset at you.
Right, that's true. You want to keep that friendship up, but also, who doesn't want to be 24/7 champion?
Yeah, that's true. But one of the things I didn't really like about the 24/7 is how there was one time where it was like it switched from the Maurice.
Yeah.
Is that what was her name? To $1 Million Man from paying it, and it keeps switching until it got to R-Truth again. R-Truth deserves that title. He's funnier.
He's the best, but that's the 24/7 championship. Anybody can win it at any time.
Either you, Cesaro, or R-Truth deserves that title.
I appreciate you putting me in that kind of category.
Because Cesaro deserves a title.
He's had some. Maybe he'll, I think what he did against Roman Reigns should keep him in the mix for the Universal Championship. We'll see.
But I see what the WWE did, because at the end where Seth Rollins came out and Jey Uso, they wanted to make it look like Cesaro got injured from something big.
He did. He got beat up by all three guys.
No, but I know he got injured in the middle of the match. So I know what WWE did. They sent them out to make it look like it was a big accident that happened.
I don't know. I think it was all. I don't know if there's any accidents there. Roman did what he did, and then those two guys kept it going because obviously Jay is with Roman, and then Seth doesn't like Cesaro.
I've met Roman.
Really?
I've met him, and I've been with him. We were supposed to be only there for 5 minutes. It turns out we were there for 2 hours.
What? He's good with that kind of stuff.
So no, it was an accident.
Okay,
it was
fair
not
enough.
On purpose.
Fair enough. I will respect your opinion on that one.
Good boy. Who would you be your top 5 dream interviews that you have not been able to do yet?
Wow. The Rock is very high on that list. And I got to tell you, I have interviewed almost everybody I'd want to interview in WWE. The Rock would be in there. Mr. McMahon would be in that conversation. I think I have to throw those two pretty high up on the list.
Remember how I said stuff about The Rock? You just said first wave elite. Remember that?
Yes.
So he's interviewed The Rock 9 times.
That's crazy.
9 times.
Which is not easy to do because The Rock's a busy guy. The Rock, Mr. McMahon would be up there. Let's see. Who haven't I gotten to talk to?
So we about have
That's a very good question. Okay. I got to think of a couple. Wow.
What about Macho Man?
Unfortunately, he's not around anymore. Otherwise, if you say all time, anybody I could have talked to at any point in their lives, I think the Macho Man would be on there. Mr. McMahon, The Rock, Rowdy Piper would be on that list. And let's see, one more. Bobby the Brain Heenan. There you go. We'll get back to that one.
Remember, you gotta dress up as that weasel.
You've already put the idea in my head. It might have to stay there now.
Okay, let's pretend that I know nothing about wrestling. Remember, this is pretend.
Of course.
Pretend
Of course.
that I know nothing about wrestling. What are 5 matches that you could recommend me that I can check out? Remember, pretend.
Pretend.
I've probably seen all of them.
Okay.
Pretend. Wait, before you answer. Okay. Oh, not finished. That is called the shoulder attack. It's where I get some muscles strung up my shoulder, and it gets a pain in my shoulder that collapses me. I can't even work my body.
Oh, sorry. You ready? Okay. Bret the Hitman Hart against Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10. It's the first match on the show. It's one of my favorite matches ever. Daniel Bryan against John Cena at SummerSlam 2013. Put that high up on the list.
Good boy.
Thank you.
You added John Cena.
Cesaro against Sami Zayn at NXT Arrival. One of my favorite matches ever.
Hey, remember, I'm just pretending.
Right.
So I like the match when Randy Orton teamed up with John Cena against all those people.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. Two of the very best ever on the same side, which doesn't happen very often. All right, let's give you two more that I really like. Undertaker against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25.
Okay, why don't you do the tag matches? I'm confused.
And you need one more. Let's see. I would say Sasha Banks against Bayley at TakeOver Brooklyn. Those are my 5.
I haven't seen that match, so I'm gonna have to check that out.
Oh, you haven't? That's one of the best matches ever.
I've seen some clips after I saw the Sasha Banks and Bayley feud rival thing
from last year, yeah.
It, but I haven't seen the full thing.
That's their first huge match. Happened at NXT.
Okay, she's telling me to not yawn the whole thing. Now she's yawning.
Moms are allowed to yawn. Don't worry.
Being that you work for the Bump, you have to attend to various shows. What is your favorite WWE event to attend to and why?
As in which one I've been to since I've been with the company?
Yes.
I'd have to say Royal Rumble from last year in 2020 in Houston when Drew McIntyre won the Royal Rumble, when Edge made his return after 10 years. Though that was 2 unbelievable moments, and I got to be there for both of those. So
wait, what was Royal the first Rumble one again?
When Drew won the Rumble last year, and that was the same time, right in that same match, Edge came back. So I would say that was my favorite event that I have attended as part of the WWE.
Okay. How would you what would you say what the hardest part of your job is and why?
I don't know if anything's hard, but I think the toughest thing we have to do is when things change on the fly when we're doing the show live. So sometimes people don't, get set up in time, or they have a connection issue, or, we're running long. We have to kind of adjust.
I think I know about the connection issue. That happened to me with Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
He had Eddie. We could have interviewed him, but he had issues with the internet.
It happens, but we got to do that on live sometimes. So like we're broadcast on the WWE Network and Peacock and YouTube, and there's nothing what you can really do. So you got to adjust as it's going on. And we do that with everybody on the show. So that's the hardest thing, but nothing's really that hard. The job 99% of the time is nothing but
Okay. How would you say COVID-19 has changed your job the most, and why do you see it going back to the way we used to be it?
So when it hit last year, we were doing the show from the studio together, myself and Ryan Popola and Evan Mack and Kayla. Right. We had done it all together in the studio in Stamford. And then last March was the last time we were all together. So we had to adjust and do something like this. This became the norm, but we were able to really keep it going. And the show continued. And I think our entire team coming together and figuring out, okay, this show has to keep going. How do we make it happen? And that's everybody. And this is the thing. You mentioned teamwork makes the dream work, right? You said that earlier.
Yep.
That is our hosts, our producers, our directors, our production assistants, our technical people, our engineers. Everybody had to work together to make a show happen where all of us are at home. And because we were able to all work together, the bump never stopped. We never missed the show. We kept it going, and we were able to interview people from home. I interviewed The Undertaker from this room. I interviewed Triple H from this very room because people were all able to make that happen behind the scenes. So the other part of that is because everybody was home. Everybody, not just us, everybody, of course, because of COVID, not going to work or, school for a time and all that. We got to try out more things and try out more shows and try to put out as much entertainment as possible so people had things to watch. And then in terms of getting back to normal, I think, with the vaccines, we're on our way to that. And, hopefully people are getting vaccinated so that we all can get back out there. And hopefully the WWE, can have fans at shows again soon. I don't know when that's coming, but I think we're a lot closer to that than we were obviously a few months ago. So we were able to endure throughout COVID-19 and still keep creating for all our fans out there like yourself. And then hopefully once we get fans back out there and us back out in the studio, it's going to make things that much better.
Okay, so before I do my last question, I was bored when I was practicing these questions, but now that you're here, it's better.
Excellent. I'm glad I'm not boring.
What advice do you have for young kids that want to grow, like me, that want to grow up to do what you are doing? Well, I want to do you or a referee.
Okay. Two good things you can do. You want to be a wrestling referee is what you're saying.
I can't wrestle, so
Gotcha. You want to be a referee. So from the ref thing, you watch the refs, and when you get older, there is, I think, training for that. I don't know myself. I obviously didn't go into that, but I do think at a time they do train referees. Now, to do what I do, I think exactly what you're doing right now is very important, because the more times you do interviews like this and research and put your questions together, the better you will get. Like I told you, you're way ahead of where I was. You are years ahead of where I was. I didn't start as young as you did because I didn't have technology like this. So the more of this you do, I call, repetition, the better you will get. And the more of that you can do, it'll make you better in the end.
Check out my channel if you said do more interviews.
Yes.
You might want to check out my channel.
I will. I've seen it before. That's where I watched the Kevin Owens interview. But that's the thing. The more of that you do, and anytime somebody asks you to do something like this, you say yes, because it'll make everybody better.
Here's the real question. Is it correct?
I think I am. If I'm not, I will make sure I am. How's that?
Do it.
You're good. You're already ahead of the game. I think Mom told you to say please, right? Yeah. That's good. Also, listen to your parents. That's another good thing to do.
Yeah. I think you're a little late.
All right. Fair enough. But I will make sure I am subscribed. Oh, yeah. I had that problem too when I was younger. The more you got the promotion down, that's good. But yeah, do as many of these interviews as you can, and you'll only get better. You'll learn more along the way too.
So, well, Matt, that's all the questions I have right now, or I could go on forever. I want to talk. Thank you so much for sitting down with me to chat today. And hey, maybe one day in the future we can work together.
I would absolutely love that, Steven, and I'm excited to get the turn.
Not done.
Sorry.
Not done.
Sorry.
Together for a day, so I could really see what it's like. I've played some of those 360 that you can move on your tablet.
Right.
On your WWE. I've seen Renee Young and all the stage and all that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Matt. Okay, guys, that wraps it up. Another episode of Turnbuckle Talk with me, Steven Spice. Make sure to watch Matt Camp weekly live on the Bum on Wednesdays, and also be sure to follow him on Sirius XM Fantasy Football. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more of those interviews, make sure to RKO that like button and give that subscribe button an attitude adjustment. Bye, guys. Matt, do you want to say bye?
Bye, everybody. Thank you, Steven.
One. Do you want to say bye?
Bye, everybody. Thank you, Steven.
One.
Hey, everybody, it's Matt Camp. You got to subscribe and like, of course, because this is Steven's wrestling journey. This is the place to be.
Right there. See you right behind me. Bye.